Good evening, mortals of the light, and welcome to another edition of Derios' Eerie Endorsements, a series where I talk about games that are perfect for playing around Halloween time. The game we're going to be looking at in this video is Soul of Darkness for DSiWare and mobile phones. I'll be looking at the DSiWare version for this video. It released in 2010 and was developed and published by Gameloft, a company that mostly makes mobile titles. They've been developing games since the Brick4 days, and this title is actually something you'd find on one. They did release a few of them on the DSiWare service though, so here we are. Is this game worth playing? Short answer, long answer, let's look into it. Oh, and just a heads up, unfortunately, the emulator I used to get footage seems to have issues with this game, so some of the sprites may appear glitched in some of the footage I show. Again, this is the fault of the emulator, not the game. The plot is certainly something. We play as Kyle, a warrior that has had a vendetta against vampires ever since they killed off his family as a child. 3 years prior to the events of this game, he rescued an amnesiac woman named Lydia while vampire hunting. The two eventually got engaged, however, Lydia has been getting strange feelings as if someone were calling out to her. Suddenly, a vampire by the name of Rita appears, claims she is part of his family, and kidnaps her, and Kel makes chase while trying to get Lydia back. A few stages later, Kel finds her and the two reminisce about their first honeymoon, but Lydia also wants Kel to stay away for some reason. But he's not having that, so he continues the chase. Through seeing a conversation with Rita, we learn that Lydia is actually a vampire, and Rita's twin sister to boot. She just made herself forget because she wanted to leave her vampiric past behind and live a happy life as a human. Eventually, Kel sees Lydia for what she really is obviously in denial of it all, and still wants to be with her, claiming he can free her from the darkness. But Lydia tells him to face the facts and eventually gets so fed up that she summons an earth dragon to keep him away from her. It looks more like a giant centipede to me. One aggravating boss fight later, Kel finally confronts Rita, and the two duke it out with Kel being the victor. However, Kel gets cursed, and it turns out Rita isn't dead yet, so Kel defeats him again. But it turns out that wasn't Rita, it was Lydia disguised as him. She did that so that Kel could absorb her essence and get rid of the curse Rita gave him, sacrificing herself in the process. Kel then reminisces about Lydia while looking at the sunset, probably while also having blue balls. Then the credits roll.
What the hell was that?
The story is actually competent on paper, but the dialogue and presentation leave a lot to be desired. I'm willing to cut a bit of slack though, since it used to be a mobile phone game. I really didn't like these character portraits, they're so ugly to look at. But you can somewhat remedy this. If you'd like, you could use the camera to replace the faces of the characters. I admittedly did get a bit of enjoyment out of that, but sadly that's probably the only bit of entertainment I got out of this plot. I didn't feel like holding anything back when talking about it because, well, it's nothing too special, that's why. So how does Soul of Darkness play? Like poor man's Castlevania. Okay, I'm kidding, sort of. It's an action platformer with some RPG elements. You move with the D-pad, jump with B, attack with A, use magic attacks with Y, switch your weapons with R, and X does everything else really. When you take out an enemy or destroy part of the environment, they'll drop souls which you can collect. There are 3 kinds. Green souls restore your health, blue souls restore your magic, and purple souls, the most common type, are used to level up your weapons, which there are only 2 of, the flame sword and the ice spear. I wish there were a few more, but that's all we're given. Exclusive to this DSiWare version, there's spots where you can use the outer camera to take a picture of something red, blue, or green to get souls, because they had to shoehorn a feature the DSi is known for, didn't they? To upgrade your HP and MP meters, you'll need to collect life and magic crystals which are found in chests. Obtain 4 of them and the bars will get larger. You may have to do some light puzzle solving in order to get your hands on some of them, and I guess I do appreciate the game not being all action at times. Soul of Darkness has 10 levels in total. And the design for them is alright. Fairly designed stuff with puzzles and gimmicks here and there to shake things up. Admittedly, I didn't have a good segue for this, but absolutely hated the sections where you're being chased by instant-kill obstacles. They could be a bit hard to react to when you didn't understand what's going on, or when you're playing it for the first time. It might as well be jump scares or something. Actually, I take that back, I love cheap shots of any kind. My favorite was probably this flying stage. Enemies fly you in formations, making it play like some sort of shmup. Did someone say shut up? It's one of the most unique levels in the game, and it was certainly fun while it lasted. There's also a few segments where you have to transform into different things to get by. I wish they were as cool and useful as the transformations in Symphony of the Night, but sadly that's not the case here. There's 3 transformations in total. An elemental, which can walk on water, summon fountains for extra height, and attack with bubbles. A piranha, which can traverse water and bite things. Ugh, I hate the controls for it. They're so stiff and it can't even move diagonally. And the last one, which is probably my favorite, is this beetle, weirdly enough. It has the ability to climb on ceilings with silk, and it can even swing using it, which is pretty fun to do actually. Spider grub. Okay, that's enough of that. I wish these levels didn't end so abruptly. You just walk off screen and get greeted with a jingle and a level complete screen. But there are bosses to fight at the end of some stages, and they're fine I guess. Some of them even have quick time events, which would be cool to look at if the sprite movement wasn't so awful. Sorry, I'm not a big fan of the visuals. They're not horrible, but I have seen better. Much better. They make me feel like I'm playing a cheap Java phone game. Oh wait a minute. But it's not just that. The animations for everything are also janky, and it's very distracting. Just look at this paddling animation. Kel's doing 180 strokes per minute. And the soundtrack is also okay. I've heard worse, but the instrumentation makes them sound like bad midis at times. Seriously, that's not MM2 Wood playing in the background. That's actual music from the game. I can barely remember any of it, to be honest. Overall, Soul of Darkness is an interesting take on a Castlevania style game. But honestly, it only makes me want to go and play those instead. The soundtrack is forgettable, the visuals and presentation are janky and leave a lot to be desired, and the gameplay, while competent at times, just leaves you saying at the end of it all. That's how I could describe the whole game in a nutshell. It's not bad, it's just The only reason I own it is because I read a review on Nintendo Life about it a while back. 9 out of 10? This game's pretty well 6 out of 10. I know there's some people out there who like and are nostalgic about this game, but I'm sorry, I didn't see what you guys see. I didn't even technically buy this. I got it with DSi points that I redeemed through Club Nintendo when that was still a thing. You could get it if it looks like something you'll enjoy. I'll willingly stop here. Just didn't go into it thinking you'll play something great, because this definitely ain't no Castlevania. It's like Sylvania Castle or something. But then again, there's some other and more interesting DSiWare titles you can get for the same price, or even less. So, I'll leave the judgment to you. And with this game reviewed, that ends this year's Eerie Endorsements. Sorry that I ended things on a bit of a sour note. I just wanted to get this title off my back so I never have to touch it again. At least, I hope this is the last time I'm touching it again. And who knows, maybe you'll find me bashing this game hilarious. There are people out there who love to see reviewers rip something a new one if it's pesh. Either way, I hope you all enjoyed these reviews, and found something you'll consider playing for the spooky season. Alright, I'm gonna end things here. This music is trying to drive me insane. So thank you for watching, stay safe, and happy Halloween! Seriously, this music is terrible! I can't take this anymore, I'm out.
So, how do you like my swimming?